We are going to look in this tutorial about how to create hyperlinks. This is really what made HTML kind of famous and kind of cool, because it was first used by researchers, and they would have like all these different studies and research papers, and they wanted to easily reference those documents. So that's originally how HTML was created. So if you referenced one research paper, you wouldn't have to go to the library and look up 200 books to find it. You could just link straight to that resource. So to link in HTML, we use an anchor element, but it's not spelled out anchor. It's just a letter A. And each letter A needs to have an attribute of href. The href is the file name or the URL on where you want to go. Okay, so when we open an anchor tag, and then we have our href attribute, then we want to have the text that we want to appear on the screen, and this will be what we actually click on to go to the contact.html file. And then we close the anchor tag. Okay, so you need to practice this a lot because this usually trips up some students. But we're going to work on that today. There are two types of hyperlinks we can look at: an absolute link and a relative link. A relative link, think about your relatives, your cousins, all that. These are pages that are on your own site. They are related to the page that you are currently on. And on those, you only have to give the name of the file if it's in the same folder, or the file path to the folder and then the file name. Okay, but with an absolute link, you are linking to an external website. You are going outside of your website to a different website. And in this case, you need a fully qualified URL. Fully qualified means that you have to include the http://www, whatever. Okay, so let's practice with that a little bit. I have in your Chapter 2 Student Files folder, we have a website called Trillium Media Design. So I want you to practice using Visual Studio Code with this because this is the really cool feature of how to open files. Expand your Explorer panel by clicking these pages and go to Open Folder. Once you open folder, and you may have already done this, you may have already figured out how to do this, that's fine, but if you haven't, find your Chapter 2 Student Files folder, and then find this Trillium Media Design website. Yours won't say copy, and click Open. So now we have all three files here. We can work on all three files simultaneously. We can rearrange those files. We can use split screen to see multiple files at the same time. Okay? Let's start out with index. Now, why did I name this file index? This is the home page, and this is actually a page that you pretty much created in a previous tutorial. So if we look at it, it looks like this right now. Okay? The reason that we name it index is usually in the past, home pages on websites, that's the first page you go to on a website, was always named index.htm or index.html. It used to be that servers would only recognize index, but our technology has advanced past that. So now we can technically name our homepage whatever we want to name it, but this is still a convention used in HTML and web design. So whenever we can, we want our homepage named index. The only reason we haven't done this in this document is, or when we're teaching and learning, is because we can't have 100 demonstration files named index. They have to be a more specific name. Okay, so we have an index page, we have a contact page, and we have a services page. Now, I did take away the nav section because I want us to redo this from scratch, because this is going to be where we create our links. Now, if we are linking from the index page to the contact page to the services page, is that an absolute or a relative hyperlink? If you said relative, you are correct. Okay, so let's get started with what that looks like. Let's open the A tag, and remember we have to have the attribute of href. We do an equal sign and a set of double quotations or single quotations. It doesn't matter which. And the first page that we want to link to is index. We want our nav section to be consistent on all of our pages. So even though we are on the index page and we don't technically need a link to the page that we're on, we want our nav section to look the same on all the pages, okay? So we type index, close that opening anchor tag, and in between the opening anchor tag and the closing anchor tag is where we type the text that we want to appear on the page. In this case, the word home. Okay, so let's take a look at what that looks like in our browser, and now we have home here. Okay, when we click on that, of course, it just refreshes the index page because that's the page that we're on. Okay, let's do our non-breaking space. So we'll do ampersand non-breaking space. And just for the sake of readability, I'm going to press enter. We could certainly have kept doing this on one line, but I think it's easier to read when you press enter. Okay, so we'll do a relative hyperlink for the services page. Okay, so we'll do anchor href services.html. Now, what do you think would happen if I misspelled services or I capitalized services? Okay, file naming is super important. You've got to be very mindful of that you're spelling things correctly, because if you don't spell them correctly, it doesn't know where to go. The computer code is going to do exactly what you tell it to do, even if you're telling it to do something wrong. Okay, so double check your spelling, exactly how we have it spelled there. And then in between those anchor tags, the opening and the closing, we'll type services. Okay, let's add another non-breaking space. And then let's do the last one. This is for contact.html. Okay, so hopefully you're getting the rhythm of that. We don't have to do an MBSP here because there's nothing to the right of that. Okay, and we can load the page and see how that worked out for us. Okay, so we have home services contact. If I click services, it takes me to the service page. If I click contact, it takes me to the contact page. Okay, but that navigation bar is not appearing on those other pages. It's not appearing on services. It's not appearing on contacts. So instead of retyping this, how about we copy and paste it? Okay, so select your 3 anchor tags. I prefer you use keyboard shortcuts. So Command C on the keyboard, or let's Command C if you're using Mac. I think it's Control C if you're using a PC. Okay, and then we'll go to contacts, and in that nav section, we'll do a Command V as in Victor to paste. Okay. We don't have to copy it again. Go right to that services page in that navigation section. Do a Command V to paste. Okay, so now all 3 of our pages have the nav section. Again, if you don't have autosave on, make sure you save those. And let's load and make sure all those links work. Okay, so I'm at home. I can go to services. I can go back home. I can go to contacts. I can go back home. Okay, so you want to make sure all those links work correctly, and that's why it's more beneficial to get one link working correctly on one page and then copy it to your other pages. That way you don't make any mistakes and all your links work correctly. Okay, now we have done relative hyperlinks, but what about absolute hyperlinks? Absolute hyperlinks link to an outside page. So let's go to our services page, and if we scroll down here, we have a paragraph that says, to learn more about search engines, visit this website. We want the word website here in this paragraph to link to this website. Okay, so let's copy and paste that website. That is the whole URL. So I'm going to right click copy or Command C to copy. And we need to make this one word be a hyperlink. So in front of that word website. And make sure you're working in the actual paragraph tag and not the comments, because the comments won't appear on your actual browser page. Okay, anchor href, equal to quotation, paste that site in there, close quotations, close angle bracket, and since it auto adds our closing A tag, I need to drag it after the word website. Okay, so double check and make sure yours looks like this. And if it does, you can Alt B. And now you see we have a hyperlink here. And when we click it, it takes us to an external site. Okay? So this is not part of our website. It's an actual page on the internet. Okay, a couple of more things. We can also link to directly sending an email, and we can link to calling someone. Have you ever looked at a website on your phone and you can tap a phone number and then a little message will come up and say, call this number? Or you type, you click on an email link and it automatically opens your email client for you to send an email? That's what we're going to work on now. So find your contact page, and then below this contact Trillium Media Design, and if you want to follow along, this is on page 57. Let's add, it has a unordered list. So let's just practice that. We'll add a unordered list and a list item. And if it helps, bye. Sorry, that was my boss telling me bye. Because I'm staying after school recording these videos for you guys. So if it helps you to have these extra spaces, it's fine to add extra spaces. Try to just make it however works best for you. So for this activity, since we have a lot of new tags, I'll press enter here. Okay, so for this list item, we want the text email to appear on the screen. Okay, so that text is going to appear. And then the email address, we want to actually display that email address. Okay, contact at, and let's just say it's trillium.com. That's should be a little easier than what's actually in the book. Okay, so we want this text to appear just like this on the page. Hold on, let me get that open. But we want, when the user clicks here, that this be an email link. Okay, so let's copy this so we don't have to type it twice. Okay, and in front of it, we'll add an anchor tag, href equal to. But this time we use the keyword mail to, colon, the email address, close quotation marks, close angle brackets. Okay, so I'm going to move this closing angle bracket to the end of what I want to appear on the screen, and let me close this so you can see it a little better. Okay, so inside your quotation marks, this mail to will force the user's email client to open. This is usually something like Thunderbird on a Mac and Microsoft Outlook on a PC. Okay, so this is going to force it to open, and then it will automatically put this email address in the to of that email. Now this is still the text that appears on the screen. Okay, so let's look at, and I don't have Thunderbird installed on my screen, so let me show you what happens, how I can tell that this worked. When I move over here, look in this lower corner down here when I move my mouse over this link. Do you see how it says mail to contact Trillium? Now if I had Thunderbird or any, oh, it did. It opened my Gmail. That's new. That's a new feature. That hasn't happened in the past. It opened my Gmail. Huh. See? Technology changes all the time. And then we could put a subject there and then just automatically send them an email. Okay? So let's try that with a phone number. Okay? So for our second list item in that unordered list, we're going to type phone, href, and then we do tel for telephone. Then we just simply type in the number. So we could do 555, 555, 5555. Or we could do 8, 6, 7, 5, 3, 0, 9. No, y'all don't want to hear me sing. I know. Too bad. So in between these angle brackets, let's type what we actually want to appear on the screen, which is this phone number. So I'm just going to copy and paste it because that's a lot of 5s to type. Okay? So if you need to pause it, see what that looks like. If it helps you to see enters, enter here and here. And this is actually, this code here is going to make this happen. Okay? Now again, you can see down here that I know it's a telephone link. And then it's trying to open the FaceTime app, which I don't want it to do. If you were looking at this on your phone, it would ask you if you wanted to call this number. Okay? All right, so this wraps up our hyperlink section. This is going to be something you really need to nail, so you might want to watch this video again. But make sure you understand how to make a relative hyperlink, how to make, it's under services, how to make an absolute hyperlink, and what the difference is between those two, and then how to do a mail to, which is email, and a tel link, which is telephone. All right, next tutorial.